Dimly lit by streetlights, a nervous young woman, Emily, walks briskly down a city street. She clutches her coat against the wind, looking over her shoulder. Her breath is shaky. A distant rhythmic clicking noise can be heard faintly behind her. Emily sits at her desk, the only light coming from the harsh glow of her laptop screen. Stacks of papers, highlighted documents, and red ink notes surround her. On the screen, MKUltra, mind control experiments. Her eyes are bloodshot and wide, staring intently at the screen.
They were just rumors at first. I thought it was a conspiracy, until I found the files.
Emily is inside a dark, dusty archive room, looking over her shoulder as she pulls out the classified files from a hidden cabinet. The door creaks shut behind her. Emily's apartment, night. She scrolls through more disturbing images, detailed accounts of experiments, drawings of crude medical procedures, and photographs of subjects strapped to chairs. As she clicks through, her laptop suddenly glitches. The screen flickers. For a brief moment, a ghostly image of a face appears on the screen, a flash of a man staring directly at her.
What the hell?
She slams her laptop shut. Her hands tremble as she reaches for her phone. Suddenly, a piercing ringing noise fills the room. It's coming from her phone, but the screen remains black. She throws it onto the bed.
I need to take a break.
Emily opens the fridge. The sound of the ringing still lingers faintly in the background, though distant now. She grabs a bottle of water, unscrews the cap, and takes a long drink. As she lowers the bottle, her eyes catch movement out of the corner of her eye. In the dark reflection of the window, she sees a shadowy figure standing behind her.
Hello?
She spins around, heart pounding, but no one is there. Her breathing quickens. Emily splashes water on her face and looks into the mirror. For a moment, she doesn't recognize her own reflection. Her face distorts subtly, cheekbones too high, eyes too dark. The mirror flickers, showing her reflection in flashes. A static sound rises. Suddenly, her reflection smiles, while she remains stone-faced.
Is it in my head? Or did they do something to me?
Emily lies in bed, staring at the ceiling. The room is bathed in darkness, except for the soft glow from her phone charging nearby. The sound of faint whispers can be heard, barely audible, just below the threshold of perception. Emily's eyes widen as the whispers grow louder. She covers her ears, but the voices seem to come from inside her head. She sits up in bed,
No, stop it.
heart racing. The sound of static fills the air again, growing louder and more chaotic. Later that night, Emily grabs the classified files again, flipping through them frantically. Her vision blurs slightly as the documents seem to pulse and shift. She stops at a page marked Subject Test 73. There's a photograph of a woman strapped to a chair with electrodes attached to her temples. The woman looks eerily familiar. It's Emily.
This can't be me.
Her mouth goes dry. Emily, now a subject, is strapped to the chair from the photograph. Scientists murmur in the background as they inject her with something. Her eyes are wide and unfocused. She screams, but no sound comes out. Emily stumbles backward, eyes wide in disbelief. Her reflection in the nearby window flickers, again, not matching her movements. Her reflection begins speaking to her, even though her lips remain still.
They did this to us. We're just experiments. They wiped your memory. You're not real.
Emily clutches her head, spiraling into paranoia. The walls around her seem to warp and close in. The static grows louder, the whispers more insistent. The lights in her apartment flicker violently. She looks toward her front door. It's slightly ajar. From the crack, a pair of eyes gleam at her, watching. Emily grabs her laptop, desperate for some kind of answer. She opens it. The screen boots up, but instead of her usual homepage, there's a single line of text.
We've been watching. You can't run.
Her hands tremble as she stares at the screen. Suddenly, it glitches again, this time revealing a live feed of her in the room from an unknown surveillance camera. Her eyes widen in terror as she looks around the room, realizing she's been watched all along. The camera pans in on her shaking hands. Emily stands frozen, heart racing. She turns back to the mirror in the hallway. Her reflection is gone. The creaks open further, but now no one is there. Emily collapses onto the floor, overwhelmed by static, the whispers growing to a crescendo in her mind. As the morning light begins to break, we hear a frantic noise echoes, growing louder and more chaotic. Emily's desperation spirals, her mind unraveling. She's on the edge, unable to bear the crushing weight any longer. She needs an escape, a way out of her misery.